A late-model Mercedes-Benz S-Class glides silently down a dark alley in San Francisco, its chrome wheels reflecting the city lights. It's 7:45 p.m. on a busy Friday, and the contrast between the luxurious vehicle and the decaying environment couldn't be greater. The driver parks strategically in the shadows, away from security cameras and prying eyes. An imposing figure emerges from the back seat. Elon Musk, wearing a $10,000 tailored Italian suit, stares at his reflection in the tinted glass of the car. With precise, calculated movements, he opens the trunk, revealing a battered backpack. From it, he takes out old clothes, carefully selected to look worn and dirty. "Are you sure about this, sir?" asked the driver, his voice betraying concern. Musk just smiles, that characteristic smile that usually appears moments before announcing something revolutionary. "Sometimes, John, we need to see the world through a different lens," he replies as he methodically replaces each piece of his elegant suit with worn-out clothes. Torn pants replace tailored pants, a stained t-shirt takes the place of a silk shirt, and a threadbare jacket takes the place of an Italian blazer. With the precision of a veteran actor, he messes up his meticulously combed hair, applies artificial dirt to his face, and puts on a fake beard that could fool even the most attentive observer. Finally, he tucks a folded piece of cardboard under his arm. The man who now walks towards Le Petit, the city's most exclusive restaurant, looks nothing like the tech billionaire who revolutionized the automobile and space industries. No one would recognize him as the richest man in the world, and that was exactly the plan. Le Petit stands like a sparkling jewel in the heart of San Francisco, occupying a meticulously restored historic 19th century building. Its pale stone walls contrast with the huge arched windows, through which the soft sparkle of dozens of Swarovski crystals dances on immaculately white Egyptian linen tablecloths. At the entrance, a line of Bentleys, Ferraris, and Rolls-Royces await the valet service. The customers, wearing clothes that cost more than the annual salary of many workers, chat in low, refined tones. The aroma of black truffles and grilled lobster escapes through the solid oak double doors every time a new group of diners is ushered inside. The maître d', Maurice Dubois, a middle-aged Frenchman with impeccable posture and a perfectly tailored tuxedo, runs the main dining room like a conductor runs his orchestra. His attentive eyes don't miss a single detail: a misplaced glass, a slightly misaligned napkin, a waiter moving too quickly. The interior of the restaurant is a monument to discreet luxury. Vintage chandeliers imported from Venice shed golden light on walls covered in handmade French wallpaper. Each table is a private island of exclusivity, strategically placed to create the illusion of seclusion amid the elegant buzz. The temperature is kept at precisely 21 degrees Celsius. The ambient music, a selection of smooth jazz played by a live quartet on the mezzanine, floats through the space like a gentle breeze. The waiters, all trained at elite hospitality schools, move with the grace of ballet dancers, synchronized in a silent choreography of impeccable service. In the kitchen, protected by swinging doors with frosted glass panels, Chef Michel Laurent, holder of 3 Michelin stars, leads his team with the precision of a general. The clatter of imported copper pans mingles with orders given in French and English, while dishes that are true works of culinary art come to life. It is into this temple of haute cuisine and social privilege that Musk, in his homeless disguise, is about to enter. The contrast couldn't be more dramatic, nor the stage more perfectly set for what is to come. Maurice Dubois, the 53-year-old maître d', bears on his aristocratic face the marks of 3 decades serving the global elite. His blue-gray eyes, cold as Parisian steel, have seen billionaires, royalty, and celebrities pass his tables. His meticulously trimmed mustache moves almost imperceptibly when he disapproves of something, a nervous tic he has developed over the years, managing the most exclusive salon on the West Coast. Emily Chen, the 26-year-old hostess, represents the new generation of hospitality professionals. A Stanford graduate, she speaks 5 languages and has memorized the faces and preferences of each VIP client. Her delicate face masks a fierce determination, and her impeccable posture hides the fatigue of 12 hours in Louboutin heels. At the bar, James "Jimmy" Peterson, a 61-year-old veteran with perfectly combed gray hair, mixes dry martinis with the precision of a scientist. His hands, marked by decades of making cocktails, never shake. His gentle but observant brown eyes are often the first to notice when something is out of place. Tonight's regulars include Richard Montgomery III, a real estate tycoon known for his generosity with tips and his explosive temper. His wife Trophy, 30 years his junior, plays distractedly with a diamond necklace while consulting the menu with studied disinterest. At the next table, influencer Jasmine Torres, with her 5 million followers, discreetly photographs each dish with her iPhone Pro, while her advisor, Sarah, meticulously notes down every detail for social media. And then there's Elon Musk, unrecognizable in his disguise. The transformation is more than physical. He has adapted his normally confident and domineering posture to a more bent and hesitant one. His eyes, usually piercing and focused, now seem lost and anxious, perfectly aligned with his homeless persona. His fake beard, a work of cinematic quality, looks like it hasn't seen a pair of scissors in months. The stains on his clothes have been strategically placed to look natural, and even his gait has been altered to suggest exhaustion and resignation. The contrast between his true identity and his current appearance is so dramatic that even his closest acquaintances would pass him by without a second glance. Monsieur, this is a private establishment. Morris pronounces each word as if they were little daggers, while Musk, in his convincing disguise, approaches the entrance. The maitre d' stands strategically in front of the oak doors, like a guardian of a sacred temple. Emily Chen, the hostess, discreetly presses the security button under her golden tablet, a standard procedure for unwanted situations. Her eyes move nervously between Maurice and the apparent beggar, while the customers near the entrance begin to notice the scene unfolding. I just wanted to... Musk begins, his voice deliberately shaky, holding up a crumpled piece of cardboard with the words, "Hunger for Dignity," written on it in irregular letters. Non, 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 Maurice interrupts, raising a gloved hand. I must insist that you leave immediately. His French accent intensifies with growing irritation. Richard Montgomery III, from his vantage point near the entrance, clears his throat loudly. Maurice, please sort this out quickly. You're disturbing our dinner. His wife Trophy hides behind the menu, mortified. Jasmine Torres, the influencer, discreetly starts filming the scene with her phone, anticipating potential viral content. Her advisor Sarah whispers, maybe we should intervene, but Jasmine silences her with a look. Jimmy, the bartender, watches the scene with growing discomfort, his hands automatically polishing an already immaculate glass. His years of experience tell him that something is different about this homeless man. There's an underlying dignity that doesn't match his outward appearance. Please, Musk insists, his voice now firmer. I just need an opportunity. I can pay. He pulls a crumpled wad of $100 bills from his torn pocket. The entire restaurant freezes. Maurice blinks repeatedly, his mustache twitching with indignation. Monsieur, the origin of this money is questionable. Besides, we have a strict dress code. What if I could buy the whole restaurant? Musk asks, his voice beginning to return to its natural tone. How much is human dignity worth, Maurice? The silence that follows is deafening. Cutlery stops in midair, conversations cease, and even the jazz quartet on the mezzanine seems to falter in its melody. With a deliberate movement, Musk removes his false beard, causing an audible collective gasp in the restaurant. Maurice pales, his knees visibly shaking. Emily drops her golden tablet, the sound of the cracking screen echoing through the silent room. Elon Musk? Jasmine Torres whispers, her phone still recording, as Sarah, her aide, grabs her arm hard enough to leave bruises. Richard Montgomery III stands up abruptly, knocking over his $500 glass of Bordeaux. My God, he mutters, his earlier arrogance evaporating instantly. You know, Maurice, Musk begins, now in his natural voice as he wipes the artificial dirt from his face with a linen napkin. I've spent the last 2 weeks visiting high-end restaurants in different cities, always in the same disguise. He pauses, his eyes sweeping the room. Every person present seems to be holding their breath. In New York, a restaurant offered me food in the kitchen. In Chicago, a maitre d' gave me his own dinner. In Miami, a chef prepared a special meal. His voice carries a mixture of sadness and disappointment. But here I found exactly what I hoped I wouldn't. Jimmy, the bartender, silently places a glass of water on the counter. "I knew there was something different about you, sir," he says softly. "The eyes never lie." Musk takes the glass of water, nodding in thanks. "This restaurant is for sale for $15 million, he announces, checking his phone. "I've just transferred $20 million to the corporate account. The extra $5 million is to ensure that all the staff keep their jobs. Except you, Morris." The maitre d' staggers, needing to lean on a nearby chair. Trophy Montgomery lets out a nervous laugh, quickly silenced by her husband's mortified look. "From tomorrow," Musk continues, "this establishment will have a new policy. For every table occupied by a paying customer, a meal will be served to someone who can't pay. Same menu, same service, same dignity." Jasmine Torres is crying openly now, her video still running. Sarah is already typing frantically on her own phone, anticipating the media storm to come. "And Maurice," Musk turns one last time to the maitre d' in shock, "I suggest you spend a night on the street. Perhaps it will help you develop a bit of, how do you say it in French? Ah, yes, compassion." 6 months later, Le Petit, now renamed Dignity, has become a symbol of social transformation in San Francisco. The queues that were once dominated by Ferraris and Bentleys now show an extraordinary mix. Executives in expensive suits wait alongside homeless people, all receiving the same impeccable treatment. Emily Chen, now general manager, leads a completely transformed team. "We're not just serving meal," she explains to a 60 Minutes reporting team. "We're serving hope, dignity, and second chances." Jimmy, the veteran bartender, created a professional training program teaching hospitality skills to people in vulnerable situations. "We've already trained 50 people, he shares proudly. Many of them are already working in other luxury restaurants in the city. The story of Dignity went viral after Jasmine Torres' video reached 50 million views. Her post inspired a wave of change. Other luxury restaurants in different cities began to adopt similar policies. The dignity dining movement became a global phenomenon. Richard Montgomery III, surprisingly, became one of the initiative's biggest supporters. "That night changed my perspective completely," he admits, while dining next to Tom, a former homeless veteran who now works as an assistant sommelier at the restaurant. "I realized that true luxury is not in the price of wine, but in the ability to share." As for Maurice, the ex-maitre, after his night on the streets, which he actually did, he underwent a profound personal transformation. Today, he runs a free social etiquette program for people in recovery, using his 3 decades of experience to help others regain their confidence. Musk rarely visits the restaurant, but when he does, he always sits at the bar chatting with Jimmy while watching the crowded room. "Money can buy a luxury restaurant," he reflects, "but true social transformation? That's priceless." Dignity now serves over 200 free meals a day, maintaining the same standard of excellence that has made Le Petit one of the most exclusive restaurants on the West Coast. The only difference? Now, exclusivity comes from inclusion. Le Petit's transformation into Dignity is not just a story about a billionaire in disguise or a restaurant transformed. It's a powerful reminder that real social change begins with a simple act of recognizing the humanity in every person. This story went viral not just because of its famous protagonist, but because it touched something deeply human in each person who shared it. In the words of one comment that received over 1 million likes, "Sometimes we need someone like Elon Musk disguising himself as a homeless person to remind us that dignity shouldn't be a privilege." Musk's social experiment has spawned a movement that transcends San Francisco. Restaurants in New York, London, Dubai, and Tokyo have adopted similar models. The hashtag #Dignity Dining has already inspired more than 1,000 establishments to implement inclusive dining programs. But the real change happens when each of us decides to make a difference. How would you treat someone in a vulnerable situation if you knew they could be a billionaire in disguise? And more importantly, why would we need that possibility to treat everyone with dignity? If this story has touched you, share it. Not just on social media, but by taking action. Look for restaurants in your city that practice social inclusion. If you can't find any, be the voice that starts the conversation. And remember, the next time you're about to look away from someone on the street, stop and think. Not because they might be a billionaire in disguise, but because they are a human being who deserves to be seen. Follow our page for more stories that inspire real change. And don't forget to turn on notifications, because the next story could be the one that inspires you to make a difference in your community.